cut out the background noise again. All I heard was, ah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. Yo, YouTube. Welcome back to a live on a regularly scheduled time, Wednesday at 8 Central Standard Time. So, I don't like the new intro music. Do you? The countdown music? Can you hear it all?
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
I like the other one better. Like, why did they change it? So, I don't know. We're going to start with that.
Do you have the option to choose something different?
No. I mean, under the paid services, you can do a lot of that stuff, but we don't have that. I did see you can do video clip intros and video clip outros.
There you go. Yeah.
So we could maybe make a new one and just do that instead of the countdown. I thought the countdown was kind of fun, just because it's live. It counts down to the live part of it. But anyway, there's bigger things to worry about, right, than that.
There are plenty of countdowns to choose from, though, if we wanted to go that route.
That's true. Yes. And we like to use your intro song. I like that one. I just don't care for the countdown one that much. Yeah. So that's motivating me to be like, maybe we need to change our intro a little bit. We'll see. All right. So we are fresh off a third goat show.
Yeah.
We survived it. I even got a little bit of sleep that weekend. So that was good. We all got through all our illness like a few days before the show. Luna had it, and I got it, and Mom got it. We didn't all have it at once, which maybe is good.
You guys are passing it around.
Yeah. When it's in your house, man, you get it. You've been there. And so we were able to get through that, and we're kind of recovered from that and could get to the show okay, which was good. But I thought it was great. One of the things I was telling Brianna, after we kind of get home and you sort of decompress a little bit and go, sure, this is what I thought of the show, or this is what I experienced at the show. One of the things that I said to her was, I just get a different, and I'm biased obviously because this is our show, but I just get a different feeling at this show. It just feels more community connected, more dealer connected, more everybody kind of pitches in and helps each other out and is recognized. And the reason I bring this up is because I said that and I thought, it's probably just me, it's my show, whatever. But then I had heard it from a couple dealers. A couple dealers had made mention of it on Facebook and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, well, that's good, because if they feel like that, I mean, they don't have to feel like that, but if they feel like that, that's great, and I'm sure it's not everybody, I'm sure it's some of us that, have been spending the time building the show, but I don't know, that's just kind of how I feel about it. It just feels like, special every time, versus just setting up at a show. How do you feel?
Yeah, I would agree. But that's what we set out to do, right? Like that is right. The kind of the vibe we were going for with it. So that just says so far we've been pretty successful with that.
Yeah. And we haven't really had a sloppy show, which I think is good. There's always stuff that comes up and doesn't go entirely as planned, but for the most part, everything's been really well taken care of and done and laid out. And we had to do a little bit of table rearranging, some different things this past show as we sold more tables. But even with that, it didn't feel like chaos or anything. It just felt like, okay, some extra things we got to get done. I really liked having the banners there, especially the one where patrons could take their, goat show experience photo, their hashtag photo, whatever you want to call it, for social media. I thought that was a lot of fun. It was nice. It was nice having, when we drew for the Pokemon box, it was nice to have a young man win that. He's 8 or 9 years old or something. So I thought that was kind of cool. We got a ton of food donations. Thank you to you and Jenny for running those there this time. I appreciate it. We got a ton of food donations, a lot of monetary donations. We just dropped a check off today. Do you know how much the check was? I don't think I ever heard it from Jenny.
I don't
Or from
know.
Brady for that amount. Well, we can get back to you on that one, but yeah, we had some cash donation. I know last time when I went to Paul's Pantry and I brought them money, they were very thankful for the food, of course, but when I gave her the check, she's like, nobody gives us money. She's like, we need money so bad, because there's some stuff you just can't do with cans of food, right?
Right.
And she's like, we needed money so bad. They needed some new like carts to wheel food stuff around on, and some bins, and like stuff that doesn't come from a food donation. So I'm sure they were very, very happy to see some money again. But yeah, so with that, our next show is June 8th. So mark it down. If you can attend, that would be great. Charlie and I had a friggin' blast doing the live, and I was super awake because it was in the morning. So you got to see the extra side of me, the extra. So we want to do that again. Maybe we'll keep evolving that show. We might have a dealer come up there or somebody attending the show. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I had a great time doing that. We had a nice setup. It was easy to get the crowd behind us. Charlie had a great, brought his mic. Mike worked out really well to help us, eliminate some background noise, and thought that went really well. And it was nice because it didn't take us away from the show the entire time. The card show, that is, not the live show. We were able to do what we needed to do at the card show and do the live as well. And we had some people come in either during the live or shortly after the live that said, hey, I saw your live video, so I decided to come down and check out the show. So it was good that way too. It was good for the dealers. It was good for people looking to attend. And I thought our parking situation was better. We used a lot more parking on the side and the back. We definitely got a full lot at a few points. And it didn't seem like all the crowd came at 9 o'clock and then left at 11:30. It seemed like we had crowd all day long.
It was steady throughout the day.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as like cramming in the beginning of the day, although we had more dealer tables and a little bit more spread out, so that probably helped too. But that very first show we did, it was like, man, the tail end of the show, it was just really dragging, and this didn't feel. In fact, we had a couple dealers ask if we would do a longer show.
Right.
So that's something we're going to have to discuss in our post-mortem success dinner that we have to schedule, the four of us on the team, and talk about for the future. We'll see. But yeah, there's a shot there of me very awake, Charlie sort of awake. See, Charlie and I operate on opposite ends of the day. Oh, there he is. There, he's got some juice. Yeah, we had a real nice crowd behind us. It's such a great environment for a video. The lighting is pretty cool, and we could be on a stage, so it was really easy to kind of show down to show you, the crowd and what was going on at the show. But yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun to do a live, just a little bit out of our normal time frame, and be present during the show, but also be able to bring the show a little bit to you guys. If you haven't watched it, it is on this channel. Go check that video out. And we also did some pickups, right? We were able to buy some stuff early on. I had a couple deals that I had already sort of made before I got there. So it was nice to get that done, ahead of time, and then be able to show off some.
Yeah, you hoarded that one, though. I got nothing. I thought I'd at least have some leftovers or something, but you took it all.
Yep, I did. No regrets. No regrets.
No problem.
Yeah, and the main he offered it to me, to be fair. I didn't ask him. He asked me if I wanted it, and then he offered the Disney 100 stuff in as a kind of a package deal. And I think primarily it came to me because I bought out all his silvers or his prisms or refractors. I don't know, whatever the hell you want to call them. And so I think he was like, "Oh, would you be interested in all of this?" And yeah, I would. So there are some bigger name characters that aren't in it. I'm sure those were the ones he sold outside of that, but I think in the long run they'll be a great source of sales in the non-sport store, especially considering you can't get those in the U.S. You have to import it from China.
Right.
And there's current challenges to some of that, or might
Market
be some.
pressures.
Yeah, there might be higher costs, or it might be difficult to get. I don't know. So I thought it was the right time to really jump on that and use that to kind of. And I bought those silvers, and man, I killed it with those, and they sold fast, and they sold for good money. So it just doing the big bulk buy just made a lot of sense.
He did bring a bunch of Marvin the Martian specifically for me because he knew that was my PC.
There you go. Did you buy them from him?
I did,
Good.
including a nice die cut.
Nice.
I think it's a case hit actually. I'll have to double check, but it's a nice acetate die cut.
Yeah, I think those cards are great. A lot of characters that you don't see cards of, and just the international release angle to it, and I just think they're tons of fun. So I'm happy to have them. I'm happy to start getting them listed. It's going to take me a while, but I feel like it's worth it. And it was right in the wheelhouse of what I was looking to buy. I want more non-sports stuff. I have a lot of space to fill in that store yet, so. Yeah, so that was all done even before the show started, which was great. And then when we did the live, we were able to sort of reveal some of that.
By the way,
you and I had made,
I did
you
hear
and I
from
had
Jenny.
made a buy at a. Go ahead.
You want to go or should I go?
You go. I gotta blow my nose.
Jenny did get back to me on the donation, so we had a $133 cash donation along with the trunk full of non-perishable goods we donated as well.
Yeah, I mean it was boxes and boxes and boxes of food, so I think that's fantastic. Shout out to our dealers for wanting to help us do giveaways, and they like the charity angle. Give us stuff to hand out to kids, as freebies or coming in the door. Any of that is great. Any extra support we can get is awesome, because then it allows us to take other money and put it into the show in other ways as we continue to expand. The other thing I really liked about the success of our live was doing it through Wi-Fi, and we had no problems at all. We're really trying to get some breakers up on that stage, and without the hardwired connection, we were getting some challenges to getting somebody to want to commit to doing a live break. And now I have some video where I can say, hey, look at this. This is what we did there. You should be able to do a break. AJ Dillon's group did a break there. They had success. They had a great show. They're coming back for the next one. By the way, we're 41% booked already for the June show. So we're almost halfway there already, and it's only a few days. Booking is reserved for current dealers at this time, but if you're a current dealer, and I'm speaking to you, get in this next week, because once that week goes by, then we open it up and we'll take other dealers. And I know of a few already that are like, I wasn't at the show, but I want a table now for the next one. So we have a waiting list too from the last show. I'm sure they'd be, chomping at the bit to get a table. So, and obviously the earlier you book, you can choose your spot. So, you want to get in early and be able to pick where you want to set up. We have the floor plan picture we can send to you with all the table numbers. It's real simple. So yeah, try to get booked up if you can. We had several book right at the show. We always provide a coupon if you book right away for the next show. At that show, we'll give you a little bit of a discount. Just makes it easier too. We just get you on the books right away. You're ready to go. All you got to do is wait for our emails then as it gets closer to the show to tell you, what's going on, what we're doing for giveaways. I think the Find a Goat was amazingly successful.
Yeah, that went really well.
I was really happy with what we did with that as a team. It was a random idea I had thrown out, early on. We would design the show, and I was like, "Oh, let's put stickers in random spots," and that was a terrible idea. Hiding the goats was a good idea. Doing it as like stickers and sticking it to yeah. Um, and then I think you came up with the little goats. Let's put the little goats somewhere, and then of course, Bree and Jenny did a great job of making it actually function, getting dealers to commit to it and collecting the goats back from, our shoppers who found them and giving them the goat bucks to go spend at the show. And then at the end of the show, the dealers brought us the goat bucks so we could give them, American dollars for their efforts. So I think it went real for something like that where it's a little bit more complicated. There's a little bit more steps to it. I think it went very, very well.
Yeah, I don't think we could ask for any better on that.
And it's a great way for us to put some money back into the show because it gives the shoppers something to do. Some people come in, they don't have a lot of money. It's free to get in. Maybe they only got $10. Well, if they can walk around and find a goat or two, they can get a few more bucks to to shop there. It's great for our dealers because they're for sure somebody's for sure going to get the money on the floor. The goat bucks are only good at the goat show, so. I think it was really fun. We had some dealers that got kind of into it, and they were like, "I'm gonna hide the goat in my pocket for a little while and wait and put it out later, so that all the goats aren't found right away." And how do I get a goat? Can I get a goat? So I was pleasantly surprised with, kind of the excitement level for that game, if you want to call it that. So
yeah.
We have a really good base we've built on since the first show. There's a few more things we want to add and expand. So I really think we're in a great spot, and I'm super excited for June. It'll be nice to have a show with some nice weather. We kind of didn't fall in the best ends of the January show. It snowed pretty good that day. We had to wait for the truck to come clear us out. Parking was, became an issue because, of course, you got snow all over the place. And then this one it just wasn't the nicer days that we've had. It was colder out, a little bit of rain and kind of misty air and wind and all that kind of stuff. So I think the June show will have a little better luck on the weather side of things.
Yeah, it should be, and there's not a lot of conflicts at that time of year yet, other than maybe some family vacations starting, but for the most part, it's a good time of year to get out to a card show because you're not having to choose between one thing or another.
Yeah, and it's we talk about dates a lot and time of the year, and it's impossible to pick something that's like, oh, this is perfect and nobody else has anything else going on. It's just that's not a thing. There's always going to be other shows that are going on in other areas. There's always going to be, well, it's graduation time, it's vacation time, it's spring break time, it's Christmas time, it's Halloween time. There's always something happening. So we're trying to do the best we can. That's one of the nice things about doing like a bi-monthly or a quarterly show is you can throw those dates out early enough. So hopefully if, people haven't made plans yet, they can go, okay, well, maybe I'll do this on that Saturday that weekend instead of Sunday so I can get to the goat show. And, maybe if you're interested in it, you want to vend at it or you want to attend it, hopefully that buys you a little bit more time than like a monthly show of how do you make every monthly show? I don't think it would be possible for me to do that at any show, regardless of the date they pick every month. There's just too much other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Even the KI, which I've set up at every single one. This last one, I couldn't do it. It was my daughter's first dance recital. Like, there's just things that trump, doing a card show at times. So that's where it's nice having a table partner, because you should always. I've done that for you before, where I've done the table myself, or I did it with Ethan, actually. I brought in because you couldn't do it. You had a football thing or something, I think. So that's just, monthly, it just gets a little bit tough that way. But bi-monthly, quarterly just seems to fit really well for a lot of people. If you can't vend for a show, you can't vend for a show. We understand. We know things are happening too. Just let us know, and we'll let you know right away when the following show is, and you can get right back in. So, yeah. So that's kind of my take on the goat show. I had a great time. I think people were very happy to be there. The food was amazing. The beef tip, well,
the beef tips
were back. Beef tips were back. I did post those of you who asked for photos, I did post a picture of my meal on this channel, just as a photo post. So check that out. If you need more pictures, let me know. I'll send you some salivation artwork, for you to look at. But yeah, it was really good. The fries were good. I ended up with steak fries. You got crinkle cut, which was weird because you ordered right after me.
Yeah, they switched them out at some point.
Yeah. So a lot of times with our menu, just to kind of tell you if you haven't been there or don't know the place, a lot of our menu is dependent upon what's happening on the Saturday before, because they do a lot of like weddings and benefit dinner type stuff and that. So a lot of the menu they put up for us is stuff that they were, had brought in for that Saturday, and then they make it for us. There you go.
Look at that.
It's very affordable because the stuff's already been paid for. So this giant, it's hard to see that it's giant because it's just a little photo there, but this huge heaping full of beef tips, gravy, onions, mushrooms, all the good stuff in there. And the steak fries, the seasoned steak fries, was $7, $8, something like that. I think.
Yeah.
$8 for the whole thing. I was like, man, that's a heck of a deal. And even like our chicken fingers plate with fries, I think that was $6. So very, very, very affordable. Last time we had all the fried chicken, so good. We were kind of looking forward to that. We're like, well, maybe they'll have the chicken deal again, because we got those big boxes of chicken for $5 at the end of the show, and the dealers love that. So to me, at first, when we got to the second show, we're like, no beef tips, what the heck? I'm like, this is terrible, blah, blah. To me, I kind of like the crapshoot of the menu. I think it's sort of fun. It's a little whimsical piece of our show. I know the food's going to be good. Yeah, I know the food's going to be good. I know they're going to have a decent choice of options. There's going to be something that I want, but I don't know exactly what it's going to be. Right. So I kind of like that. I get to the show and I go look at the menu and I'm like, oh, the beef sandwich is back, or this, the fried chicken. The fried chicken was really good. It was one of the best fried chickens I've ever had. So I think that's kind of fun, as long as they have, like I said, a decent variety and things that most people would eat. Right. I'm happy with it kind of changing up a little bit each time. I think that's a little more fun. If we had just had the beef tips all three of these shows, it'd be like, well, we had the beef tips again, but you know what I'm saying? Where you kind of throw that mix in there.
Kind of a special flair, almost like the alternate uniforms in Major League Baseball, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we got them like, they have the beef tips. It was like, it was a thing. It was a good thing. So, yeah, super, super awesome venue. I'm very happy with them. They've been liking our posts. They've been posting some of our stuff on social media. They put us on the marquee board out front. So they've really helped us, grow it too, with helping some of the advertising and the community stuff. So June 8th, if you can be there for June 8th, let me know. If you're coming from out of town, you need some accommodations, or you need some help, let us know. We can. I probably won't do anything with it. I'm not, I'm too lazy for that. But I'm sure Brianna and Jenny will get you all sorted out, and they're the people you really want to talk to anyway. They run the tight ship, and Charlie and I just do live video feeds and tell jokes. So we're pretty fortunate in our arrangement that way. So, but we're doing good. It's strong in attendance. It's strong in dealer show up. Dealer sign-ups, dealer production. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. We have a vast array of things to buy. Good vendors. It's the show is strong financially. It's strong, community-wise. We have some more charities we want to look at. So we've got a lot we can do that way as well. So looking forward to it. But at least we're done now for a couple of months before the big kick comes in to push for the next one. So
Right.
Happy about that. It's tax time. We've got other things we got to take care of. So, I thought about it when we were talking originally about doing an April show, and we were going to do like the second week of April. I'm like, I'm so glad we didn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm a last minute tax filer guy. I mean, I have my stuff together, but I don't really do anything. I've been doing it for 25 years, so I'm a veteran in doing this, and but to throw the card show on top of it would have not been so much fun.
Right.
So, all right. Should we get to some chats before we start doing the next thing? Okay. Dan says, "What up, all? Where's the food pics from the show?" Well, I think we answered that question.
Yeah.
We showed it. If you want to see a better view of it, it is posted up. Did you pull up my post? Is that where you got it from?
Yeah.
It is a post on this channel. I know on YouTube a lot of people don't look at the post. That's why I don't post a ton on it, but it's on there if you want to take a closer look. Longball says, "I could tell you got sleep this weekend. Seems like you drank 7 Red Bulls during your live." Mornings, man. Mornings are the best. I was up. I was going. I had my coffee already. I got. We left early, so I actually was able to get like some decent breakfast, and we got tables moved, and I was juiced. I was ready for the day. So made a couple of good buys early on. I didn't get to the Aubrey Plazas before Charlie, but other than that,
No, you didn't.
I snaked a lot of the judges in Otani before he got to him, so at least I had that. But yeah, it was great. Dealers were great, very friendly. Everybody was coming in, setting up, and a couple dealers helped us, that were there early, rearrange tables and get things set up. So it's great. Big community focus gets me hyped. So if you like that kind of energy, that's probably what I'm going to bring whenever we do lives that are not at 10 o'clock at night, which is by far the tail end of the day for me. Not Kelly says, "Almost missed the show. Addicted to the new WWE 2K25. I assume that's a video game.
Huh?
That's a video game, right?
It is. It's the new wrestling for the year.
Yeah, I figured with WWE. Okay.
I was playing a little MLB 25 right before the show here tonight.
I did like some of the wrestling games when I was a kid, like arcade stuff, because that's kind of a fun sport to put into a video game, right? Because you can jump off of ropes, and you have these different moves you can do, and bounce yourself off ropes, and I always had some fun with that. It's the sport or entertainment, whatever you want to call it, is laid out well for video game control. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Max says he's in already. Awesome. Happy to have you there. I'm glad you're coming back. It wouldn't be the same show without you. I assume got your same spot. I haven't talked to Bri yet.
Yes.
I think she said she was going to ask you right away.
Yeah,
so
we said already.
Okay. So you're going to be right where you were. Tell your people, hey, you know where I am. Come get me, and we'll make sure that everything's set up and ready for you to go. John, what was the super fractor you got? Your video ended before the card was shown. Super fractor. Are you talking? The only super fractor I have ever pulled is out of Star Wars Chrome, and I pulled an IG. Was it IG88? No, K2SO. A K2SO super fractor. I sold it, or I'd show it to you, but I sold it already. I think I got like $400 for it, $450 for it. Not bad out of a $30 box, a $35 box. It was just a Costco box. Yeah, that's the only. If you're referring to a super fractor I pulled, that's literally the only one. And you might be right, because it was like I actually didn't take the video. I wasn't filming opening the packs, and then I opened a pack and saw there was a super fractor in it. And I'm like, oh, I got to video this. So I knew there was a super fractor in the pack. but I didn't know which one it was because I you know, you kind of fan the cards out a little bit. I'm like, dude, that's gold vinyl, superfractor, whatever you want to call it. So it's like, I gotta put this down and then, you know, get some video and see who it is. And it was K2SO, which isn't a terrible one. And unfortunately, it didn't have an auto. I was hoping it had an auto because I love, what's his name, who does the voice. He was on Firefly. He's on that Alien show, the new Alien show with, is that Netflix? I can't think of his name. I can look it up.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Alan Tudyk. Alan Tudyk.
Okay.
I had like Tudor or something in my head, so I was close on the last name. But he's a pretty big time actor, you know, compared to there's a lot of, you know, unknown actors in Star Wars too. So, I mean, what's the new show that he's in? That's going to bother me too. He's also on The Tick. He was in 28 Days, A Knight's Tale, Dodgeball, I, Robot, 310 to Yuma, Tucker versus Dale, Transformers, Dark Side of the Moon, or Dark of the Moon, Maze Runner, Trumbo. He played Wash on Firefly. Did you ever watch Firefly?
No.
It's literally one of the greatest shows of all time. It should have never been canceled, and Fox is morons, and that's why they failed.
I'm more interested in who he played in Dodgeball. A real
Serenity.
Was he the pirate?
I'm not sure. Yeah, he was the voice for the robot in I, Robot. Did you watch I, Robot? With I think that was Will Smith.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Let's see. I don't know what he played. Where's the cast? Here's cast.
This is what everybody tuned in for.
Alan Tudyk played Steve the Pirate Cowan, a regular customer at Average Joe's who dresses, talks, and acts like a pirate. That's totally Alan Tudyk.
He was awesome in that.
Yeah, I actually met him once at a Star Wars convention. Super nice guy. Funny, very funny. Yeah, he's defeated by the Girl Scout troop. That's funny.
Yes.
Yeah, he's my point is an auto of him would have been nice. You know, that's a decent auto to get. It's not like a Jawa played by some random, you know, actor who's never done anything. Like he's got a legit career.
Yeah. Or like I had the BB-8 auto from the Puppeteer, you know.
Yeah. He was in Serenity, Death at a Funeral, Arrested Development, Dollhouse, Young Justice, American Dad, Suburgatory. Oh yeah, Suburgatory. That was a good show too. Newsreader, Star vs. Forces of Evil, Rogue One, which is of course where he plays K2SO, the robot in Star Wars, or droid. Excuse me, they're not robots.
Droid.
Doom Patrol, Halo 3, Star Wars Battlefront, Green Arrow. I mean, yeah, dude's legit, you know. That's pretty solid list of stuff. Anyway, so that hopefully that answers your superfractor question. I tried to buy from a dealer towards the end of the show, but there was another dealer buying out his boxes, unfortunately. Oh, yeah. Sometimes that happens. I'll miss out on stuff because I'm doing something else or I'm already in a box. I know you just tend to buy like just all bulk at once. I don't always do that. Sometimes I flip through the box and pick what I want. Like we're pretty much what we did on Sunday. And there's a cost to that, right? A time can't be in two places at once cost. So I'm going through the box and I'm finding decent stuff. Well, maybe there's a better box down the road for what I'm looking for. But yeah, that's just part of the game. There's, you know, somebody else looking to get the same thing you want. Can you give an info on the Wildcard Stat Smasher bulk deal you talk about? Yeah, so this is an older video. I'm guessing John is kind of new to the channel, so welcome, John. Because he's talking about some of the older videos. Yeah, I got a really good bulk buy on eBay. I don't know, it was a couple years ago now, but it was so when Wildcard went out of business, like they did backdoor sales, right? So they had all these, backup cards that they just sold in bulk on auction or whatever. However they did it. That part I'm not familiar with. I didn't buy them that way.
Yeah.
But I got a dealer on eBay who had a bunch of the gold parallel Stat Smashers, which are some of the greatest insert cards of all time, design-wise, in my opinion. And they were all good names. It was, John Elway, Joe Montana, Deion Sanders, Michael Irvin, Dan Marino, Brett Favre, Barry Sanders, Emmett Smith, Troy Aikman. Like, those are all no-brainer names to buy. And so he was selling them in lots. So he had like a lot of Emmett Smith golds for, 300 copies for $100 or whatever he was asking.
Yeah.
And so I said, I want all of them, all of it. Like it was like 1,400 or 1,600 cards. And I said, I want all of them. I want every single Stat Smasher you got, and I want a good deal on it. So I ended up paying a little less than 50 cents a card, and most of the golds I get somewhere between $5 and $10 for, depending on the name, of course. And I've just been selling those forever. So if you watch any of my sales videos, I don't know if you've watched any sales videos yet, John, but if you do, almost every video you'll see I got to go pull a gold Stat Smasher. I gotta I did get some silver ones too. I got a stack of silver Emmett's, Aikman's, Favre's, Barry Sanders, and Sterling Sharp, I think. There's a bunch of different players where there were just the base silver ones too, but still a great card, still, demand for them. So I bought everything. That's the case where I want to buy everything, because when there's multiple copies like that, it's one listing. I just list 200 gold Deion Sanders cards, and the algorithm kind of takes care of it from there, because you go in there and look at one of my listings for those, and you'll see like 65 copies have sold or something. You know what I mean? And eBay really likes that when it sees a multi-quantity listing and you have multiple sales. They tend to put it in front of some more eyes. So it's been a great buy and a great sell. When I figured it out, if I'd have sold them all at my retail price, which of course, I'll take offers a little less, and then of course I've got eBay fees coming out of it, blah blah blah. But the net, or gross sales amount, if I sold all the cards at what I listed them at, was going to be like $12,000, and I think I paid like 100 something for all of them. So I figured even after some eBay fees and some accepting some offers and things like that, I would still come out pretty darn well on that deal, and I have so far. Okay, so this is Dan wants to know if with all the non-sport stuff I picked up, will I hit the 10K mark on my non-sport store? I'm no longer calling it store 2 because it just sounds terrible. So it's the non-sport store. Maybe I'm at like 5,600, 5,400, something like that. I don't know. I've had a lot of sales in that store lately, so I'm actually down listings from a few days ago because of that. But so there's a lot. I bought a lot. There was more than I thought there was. I'm still working on the pickups video. I just finished the filming the Topps Chrome Star Wars that I had bought. So a bunch of refractors, numbered cards, stuff like that. But there's some gaming cards. There's Pogs. There's 4 or 5 different sets of different things I bought. Fright Flicks sets, from the 80s. Those cards are amazing. Yeah, so it's going to take me a while. So I'm kind of filming them as I go, and I don't want to just film everything either. I got to list some things. Excuse me.
We were talking about this earlier. It's that time of night.
Yeah, and then the other thing I just filmed today was I bought that that box from Jeff at the end of the show, Charlie. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I went through that, and I've listed some of them already, but out of that 5-row box, I filled almost these 2 boxes here with cards I could list.
Okay.
So there was Steph Curry stuff in there. There was Luka stuff. There was Barry Sanders, Brett Favre, Joe Montana. Inserts, a few numbered cards. There was an auto in there. In this box account, I paid $30 for the 5-row box, which is a heck of a deal.
Yeah.
So before I start making the kids packs, I always kind of go through it and pull out stuff that I could sell individually, and I had pretty good stack. Actually, here's some baseball stuff I had stacked up here. So I've got like some Mattingly inserts. Here's the headlines, Mattingly. Some Alfonso Soriano inserts. Here's a Bo Jackson and Frank Thomas card. I love that card from Fleer. Some Posada. There's Posada inserts. Some more Ricky. So there's actually a bunch of like baseball and basketball in there too. So I had to kind of sort that because I don't want basketball or baseball cards to end up in my football packs. So kind of sorted that. So basically 1 row is like baseball and basketball in the 5-row box, and then 4 rows minus everything I took out of it is football. Like here's a Bernie Williams rookie from Topps. An earlier Ryan Sandberg. I just had a huge Ryan Sandberg sale lately, or yesterday, today, whatever. Yeah, so there was a bunch of that kind of stuff. I had a SP. We were just talking about this guy the other day. There was an SP Authentic Prospects Billy Wagner rookie in there.
Yeah.
And he just made the Hall of Fame, and I had sold all my Billy Wagner stuff. It went fast once he hit the Hall of Fame, so I was like, I can get like $4 or $5 for that card. SP Authentics was a big set, with the foil rookies and all that. It's in decent shape. Not PSA 10 shape, but
okay.
So for buying a box of commons, that was when you're paying, what did I pay? Less than a quarter of a penny per card. If you figure it's 5,000 cards, they weren't sleeved, they weren't top loaded, and it was stuffed full. So it was probably pretty close to the 5,000 count. But 5,000 cards for $30 is less. Well, it's a little more than a half a penny, right?
Right.
Per card. So that's pretty solid when you actually have stuff you can pull out of it to resell to. A couple of the Currys were inserts. Some optic stuff is pretty good. If you're talking base, I got a lot, like I said, a ton of Barry Sanders stuff, some inserts of him, some Favres, lots of Topps Composite, which is one of my favorite products ever. A few numbered cards, a few refractors. So yeah, it was really, really, really nice. Jeff takes good care of me when he sells me a box, so I was pretty happy about that. And football was the thing I needed the most, because that's when I make my packs, that's what's in most demand, because we live in Green Bay. So if he was like, I got a whole box of basketball, I'd kind of be like, that would still be better than baseball, because my store that buys my packs doesn't even really want baseball, which I think is kind of weird, but with the Brewers being so good, but I still buy baseball anyway, because I find value in a lot of those cards. And there's always like some Otanis in there and Judges and stuff like that. So yeah, I get extra value right away. But I also think the store is going to come around. They're going to be like, can we get just like a row of baseball packs in a box? So I wanted to make sure that I had some for that reason as well. Nothing else. I'll throw them out as dime boxes at the show, and they'll go that way. I did set up at the show. I set up a bunch of kids pack boxes, and I sold a bunch of them. I sold like $50 worth, which was pretty good. And I always have my little like refill box where I'm kind of making packs, and I just sort of throw them in this box here, and then I kind of refill the slots, if I sell any out of the boxes. So it's just nice. It's super easy to sell them at a show. It's $2 a pack. Here you go. You grab the pack you want. Here's $2. You know, I don't have to do a lot of digging through. They don't get all messed up and falling out of boxes and stuff. So, kind of nice that way. Oh, and then I should show you these. This is a pair of this is random, I know, but a pair of Generation 3 AirPods. So it's the overpriced Apple crappy tech stuff.
Yeah.
And these were under about 2 inches of ice. So a couple weeks ago, I took my daughter camping at a scout camp, and it was friggin' freezing out. It was like 16 degrees the whole day while we were out there. Well, her and her friend were going to some of the low spots at camp, and they're like, "We're gonna go look for treasure." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, okay." So they go out and look for this treasure. They're just taking a stick and they're like poking at the ice, trying to break stuff out of the ice. And they found like a pair of gloves and these AirPods and like, I don't know, they found a whole bunch of stuff, a penny, like just random stuff. And I was like, okay. So I told her what I would do. You know, since they found them, they're theirs now. I said, well, let's do this. I'll list them on eBay. And whatever I sell them for, you and your friend can split the money. So they're pretty jazzed about that. So every other day or so, I haven't gotten any hits on them yet, but every other day or so, I get, did the AirPods sell yet? So I'm trying to price them right at market, but I'll probably just end up dropping it down a bit over time because they're a little bit older generation, and I don't have the charger, of course, or anything. So, but yeah. Anyway.
A tech collector will want them.
Yeah, I think so. I bet they still work, to be honest with you. You know, there's only a couple inches of water. They're supposed to work up to like a foot of water or something. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It was the Star Wars Super. The video just popped up onto my feed a few days ago. Yes, then that is the one. It was K2SO. And I did sell it. You can check my eBay store if you want for the sale price. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was like $450. But yeah, I pulled that out of a $35 Costco Star Wars box.
You know, I haven't seen cards at Costco since they had that palette of Star Wars.
No, our Costco either doesn't get any in, or there's weird people who camp out and just buy everything. I don't get that. I kind of got the Pokemon for a bit because, you know, but a lot of those packs, like once they're mass released like that, let's say you buy them for $35, right? Retail price. You can sell it online for what, 40?
Mm-hmm.
Like, or 45. Like, it's not even worth your time. So yeah, whatever. But if I go to Costco and there's a cool pack or box there, I'll buy them. If there isn't, I'm not going to cry over it. I'm not going to run to eBay and pay twice the price to get it.
I feel like they only get those around the holidays because they don't even really have anything
like
in
a
that
spot.
Category. Or, yeah.
The only place that I found some, because they moved them to there when they would go on like clearance or whatever, was over by the books. You know, where they have like the books and like the children's activity workbooks and that stuff. Mm-hmm. I found some Star Wars boxes over there.
That's where I found
you know,
them too.
Later on, but yeah, it's so I don't go to Costco that often. You know, maybe once a month or so. But when I go, I pop down those aisles, and if I see something great, if I don't, and we need some packs. We need packs to give out at our next show too. So it's kind of hoping to find something cool at Costco. Some Star Wars packs would be cool to hand out. You know, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I can find some. Max says it was you, Charlie. You were buying it out before he could get there.
It was.
That's silly.
I had just got done buying a box, and then I was still talking to the dealer about a second box, and Max came along and started thumbing through the box I just bought because we hadn't put it away yet. I'm like, hey, I just bought that box.
Was that box of top-loaded stuff you showed me towards the end of the show? Yeah, I figured. Dan's got a big story for us here. Had a package during the ESC tracking issue. Person opened a case saying they never received, went to that third-party site and it showed delivered. Sent the tracking from there, no reply from 3 messages.
Yeah.
Contacted eBay. They told me to open a PIP claim, and I asked, should I refund them? And they told me, no, you contact us back in a few days. Got my PIP claim received without refunding them. Odd. So you got the money back even though it was delivered? Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm guessing it was pretty low dollar amount because most of those claims, if there isn't much money to it, they just pay the claim because it's really not worth their effort for $1.75 claim or a $3 claim to put anything into it. But yeah, I'm guessing if it was like a $20 card, they'd have bucked you a little bit more on it. 15. Oh, he says 15. Oh, yeah. I'm kind of surprised. Well, that's good. You guys do a lot more contacting eBay than I do. I usually just solve the problem the way I want to solve it and move on. To me, if it says delivered, no, I didn't really have those tracking issues that you guys had that I noticed. I had like 1 day's worth, and then boom, the next day all the tracking showed up. So I feel fortunate that way. But yeah, I mean, if I have tracking and it shows delivered, and the person says, "Hey, I didn't get this," I just let it go. Like they're not going to get refunded because it shows that they got it. So unless they contact me and there was some kind of issue or whatever. But I usually tell them, because you'll get those messages, hey, this says delivered and I hadn't gotten it. I always tell them, well, contact your local post office. Like, they're the ones that say you got it. So you probably want to check with them and find out where it is, or ask your neighbors. Maybe your neighbor got it instead or something, But I would argue I probably do the best volume of anybody in our Discord. And I hardly get any of those. I get maybe one message every 6 weeks or so that says, hey, this show's delivered and I didn't get it, or hey, I never got it, kind of thing. So, or if I do, it's later that day I get, oh, it showed up now, or oh no, I got it. So I guess I don't chase down a bigger solution because it's not really a problem. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, in Dan's case, though, eBay didn't show it delivered. It was that parcel app.
Correct, but and it was a $15 card. For a $15 card, I agree. I would have looked into it a little bit. But you weren't going to be out anything. Like, I see what you're saying, because it didn't show delivered, and if they file a claim, eBay is going to side with the buyer because it doesn't show delivered. And I think when you filed the PIP claim, I think eBay was like, just give this guy the stupid money. It was our fault that the tracking didn't work. And there's nothing we can do about it. I'm guessing that was kind of where their take was on it. But yeah. I really haven't had to chase down any of that kind of stuff. So feel good about that way. I was worried eBay wouldn't side with me as the tracking wasn't working on eBay's side, and I would get dinged with no resolution. Yes. I agree. I understand. I think you did the right thing, for sure. I mean, clearly it worked out for you. You got your money back, and you didn't have to refund the buyer. So, like, sweet deal. Normally on a PIP claim, because I've had this before, where I'll file the PIP claim, and they'll message me and say, hey, you didn't refund the buyer yet. So then I go refund the buyer. I send them the screenshot from the order details showing that the buyer was refunded, and then boom, the PIP pops into my account. So the normal process is you do have to refund the buyer before you can get the money back yourself. So they made some kind of exception based on their tracking issues.
Seems like it.
Keith says, what's up, fellas? Are we playing any card games tonight or what? Card games? Oh. I don't have any card games to play. I mean, I got actually, I have Highlander. You want to play some Highlander cards?
Maybe he's really referring to hobby or no.
Hobby or no. I don't think we have a hobby or no. That was popular, Charlie. You're on the hook now. You got to keep doing that.
Yeah, we'll do it again, I'm sure.
We'll do it again. Yeah, we're kind of we were kind of taking it a little bit easy for this show just because we'd had such a busy weekend. Um, there's a lot going on at my house right now too, with just other stuff. I had a conference today with Luna's teachers, and we have regular conferences the end of the week, and then I had to go do the draft for my soccer team. I'm coaching soccer, so I had to go draft my players.
Oh.
And then
How'd your scouting department do? Did they set you up well?
I don't know any of these kids. So basically, it's a blind draft. So you basically go there, they put all the names in the bowl, and each team picks out a name, and you just kind of assemble your team that way. Obviously, my daughter's going to be on my team. That's like the only one you know of.
That's
Well, that one, and I have two other coaches, two moms that have never coached soccer before, so this could get interesting. They're more like, when I talked to them, they were more like, we just want to help. Like, if we can run and grab the balls while, when they kick the balls out of play, we'll go do that. And, we can help coordinate schedule stuff. I'm like, perfect, because that's what I need. I can do the coaching. I know the drills. I know all the rules of the game, So I'm like, so that seems like that's what's going to be the arrangement. So it worked out really well. But yeah, it was just a blind draft. So we have each of their kids, of course, on the team. My daughter's on the team, and then we drafted like another 13 players, or 14. Now this age group, they play a 7v7. They don't play a full 11v11. So if you got 15 kids on your team, you've got enough for two squads, basically.
Yeah.
You could essentially just do a line change, pull everybody off, put all the new ones on, which will be good. We should never end up short playing 7-on-7. I don't personally like that. I think at this age, she's 10. I think at this age they should be playing on a full field with regular rules. But
okay,
I don't make the league. When I was in soccer in her age, yeah, we always played on a normal size field. We didn't have any 7v7, shorter field, smaller goals. We didn't do any of that. We played, the regular game. I think it's good for really young developing players, like 4, 5, and 6 years old, maybe even 7. But I feel like after that, they should probably learn the real game and the full team layout. But anyway,
I think it depends on the different levels of programs you have in your area. Like maybe there's not a lot of younger teams where they had the opportunity to learn those fundamentals. Maybe this is kind of the first or second level of playing for them, where they wouldn't be ready for the full squad.
Okay. I guess I can see that, but why is it better to play 7v7 than 11v11?
Yeah, that I don't know.
You're
talking
because
sport, I don't really know. So
it's not really okay. Let's compare it to football. Let's say instead of, how many do you have on one side of the ball on football?
11.
Okay, so let's say you change that to 7. Would that change like the entire game?
No.
But and you don't think that
we play 7-on-7s most of the summer,
right? For like warm-ups or
No, like there's 7-on-7 practices and leagues, and there's actually 8-man football now too. You just take out some of the linemen.
Yeah, that soccer doesn't really work that way. It's there's so much of the field that each play. That'd be like saying, okay, well, we're gonna put a baseball team out there with no outfielders. Like that, the game doesn't really function that way,
No, but we used to play with just one side of the field. We didn't have enough
for baseball.
Yeah, like pickup games and stuff.
Right. I think, and like I said, with the young players, yeah, because they just need to learn how to run around and touch the ball and not use their hands. Some kids, it takes a super long time to get out of that mode. And that's fine. That's where, and then it's cluster ball, right? So I don't know if you've ever watched little kids play soccer, but there's the ball and they just go,
Well, that's if
But
they're not distracted by the dandelion or the bee.
yeah, right. Yeah. But by 10, that's kind of sorted out.
Yeah.
It's harder for me for the drill side of things because I go, okay, well, the center midfielder, makes the run up to the right wing side. Well, your right wing now has to drop back to the right midfield. The right midfield now has to drop to the center midfield. And I'm going, wait, I don't have a center midfielder because I don't have enough players. And it just doesn't. It's a constant. It's like a chess match game, right? Like you're always moving your pieces to support what you're trying to do, and it's tougher to do at 7 players. I think in the early years where you're not even really playing positions, you just tell all the kids to go out there and try to score a goal and try to prevent a goal, and it makes a lot more sense.
There was no real like tactical coaching, and I don't remember how many kids they had on the pitch at a time. It wasn't 11, I can tell you that.
Yeah, and the smaller goals and stuff. Okay, that can make some sense too. But yeah, I think by 10. Now this is, to be fair, this is her last year of 7v7. Then she goes to 11.
Yeah.
So it's not far off. I guess I can agree with it. That way. Like, okay, well, next year she has to play on a real field. But you start looking at like 11 and 12-year-olds, like they're 1 year away from high school and they haven't even played a real setup of the game yet. And now they're going to go to JV and they're going to be like, well, we don't play 7v7, we play 11-11. And they're like, we've never played 11-11.
Yeah.
That's not the best situation to be in either.
Yeah. My kids were like 6, 7, and 8 when they played that kind of stuff.
And that's 6, 7, and 8. I think that's perfectly fine. I think it's smart to do 7v7 because it is bunch ball. I think 8 might even be a little bit strong for that, but I think by 8, 9, still play 7v7 because now at least they're spreading out a little bit and you can start to teach them passing, but it's more controlled because there isn't as much field to cover and stuff. But I really feel at 10, like she plays in U12 because U12 is under 12 and she's by her birthday she's 10, but she'll be turning 11 in the year of the season, so she plays U12. I feel like it should be a full field. So anyway, enough of that. You guys don't want to hear about that anymore. Curmudgeon's here. What's up, fellas? What is up? How is it going? Max and smaller schools actually play sanctioned 7 and 8 man.
Yeah, my high school is actually an 8-man team now.
But okay, so what age is that at? What age are they playing?
High school.
They play 8-man high school ball.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the northern schools do now because of smaller enrollments.
Yeah, probably don't have enough players, right? So they do that to kind of compensate for them. Okay, well that makes sense. If you can't field a team, yeah, you're gonna have to reduce the number of players.
Yeah.
Max wants to know, is it a rec or tournament? It's just a rec league. So obviously if it was a tournament league, it would definitely have to be 11 on 11 in soccer anyway, which that's probably where I'm kind of getting. I'm like, I never played 7v7, but I started playing tournament ball when I was like 7, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's all tryouts and stuff. Ironically, I never tried out for a team. I was actually practicing on one field with my rec team, and a coach for a tournament team was practicing on a field across from us.
Yeah.
And he came over and talked to my mom, and he's like, "Yeah, can I have this kid on my team?" And then my mom's like, "Well, do you want to play this travel ball?" I'm like, "Sure, sounds fun. I get cooler uniforms, so why not?" And so that's how I started in tournament ball. I never had to try out. Yeah, I never had to try out. I was gifted enough right at the beginning. I feel very, very thankful for that opportunity. Soccer gave me a lot of good things in life. I'm taking my daughter to a Twins Braves game in April. I'm hoping she enjoys it. I'm sure she will. I like watching baseball games. I like the chess match, the percentages play, statistical play that the game requires. Some people don't like it because they want the action. I think it's a little better now than it was. You don't have pitchers taking 8 minutes between pitches.
Sure.
They've done some things to move the game along. I disagree with the starting a man on second base stuff and some of that kind of thing, but I understand that the constant feedback was the game is too slow. It's not exciting. There's not enough scoring. So they had to kind of take some of that dawdling away to appease the fan base. But I'm a little bit more purist in the baseball game.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find it difficult when you have all this record keeping for all these years, right? And like this guy did this and this guy did this, and then all of a sudden you change the rules and people are starting on second base and now scoring runs where they wouldn't have even been on second base. Like you're just starting to screw with a lot of the history of the game, the sport, for the sake of people's short attention spans in 2025, because we can't wait for anything anymore. It's I was watching a YouTube video today. It was like things we did in the 80s that you could never do today, kind of thing.
Yeah, I like those too.
And one of them was like booting up your Commodore 64, and then you had to go into like the C drive or the tree, and you had to type the commands. And then if you wanted to play the game, you put the disc in, and you had to type run, and then you just had to hope it actually loaded. It was like a lot of times it would fail, right? And then it would, fine. It would go run. It would find the program, and then you had to wait for it to load. And do that like, and make all those like finding stuff noises. And like, yeah, you tell a kid that nowadays that their Xbox doesn't just immediately pop up. Or I was telling Luna the other day how we used to have to wait in line to get tickets for certain movies.
Yes.
Wait in line to get their
that long
seat.
ago.
No, it wasn't that long, but it is for her. Like she never experienced. She's 10. It was before that.
Assigned seats that you could reserve ahead of time.
Yeah, but she was like, "Well, why didn't you just go online and buy them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that wasn't a thing." So it's it's crazy sometimes trying to describe some of that stuff to a younger generation who's never experienced any of it. Dan says he still does stuff in command line on computers today. Well, that explains it, Dan. You seem like a line typer. You seem like a line typer.
You still have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the old school forums, right, where you'd have to go, you'd do your squelching and you'd log into the internet, and then you'd have to go into like commands and forums and stuff to get chat to work. And playing Doom online against somebody, you had to dial in, they had to dial in, and then you had to
Doom.
You had to find each other in the network, and then inevitably one of you the internet would fail and you'd just be playing by yourself, or someone would pick up the phone and disconnect you. Yeah, those were first world problems, 20 years ago. But you're right. As crazy as all that sounds, it really wasn't that long ago. No. I mean, I remember that was like right before college. I was doing that stuff.
I mean, it was just the Star Wars, the prequel series.
Yep.
I remember showing up at 11 p.m. and waiting in line or something like that. Yeah.
Well, you had to wait in line to buy the tickets, and then you had to wait in line the day of the show to get your seats.
Yeah.
So 2 lines. I can remember that, the trailers weren't online. Like now you just go look at all the trailers. I can remember going to see Meet Joe Black in the theater because the Star Wars Episode 1 trailer, that was the first time it was going to appear, was before Meet Joe Black.
Yeah, I never did something like that.
I did. I bought a ticket to Meet Joe Black, but I was a big Star Wars, not at that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I bought the ticket. I should probably just watch this movie. And it actually wasn't that bad. So I felt like I at least got a little value for my ticket. And of course, I got to see the Episode 1 trailer, which was mind blowing.
Yeah.
It was the original one where, young Anakin walks in front of like the sand dune and you see like the shadow of Vader, for him. And
yeah, I
remember
great. That one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It had Watto, and I was like, oh, Watto, he's going to be awesome. He's a Tansdarian or I don't remember how you pronounce it, but he always had the chance cubes. He would throw the chance cubes.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, having a huge long phone cord that went from the phone drop to my room with the computer. Yeah, because you used to have to take like the phone handset and set it on like the little dial box or whatever. I remember those. I remember those too. If you weren't hardwired in,
anybody who's seen War Games knows how that goes.
Yes, that's actually a very good movie. Very good movie too. It's held up too. It has some relevance to today, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. Hackers. You ever see Hackers?
Yeah.
With Angelina Jolie, and yeah, it was great. Max says it's the only Star Wars movie he's ever seen. Well, that's too bad because that's not the best Star Wars movie. That's for sure. The Star Wars: A New Hope, the first released movie. It's Episode 4, but it's the first movie that came out in '77. It's pretty good. Empire Strikes Back, Chef's Kiss, top 3 movies of all time. One of the only perfect films ever made, in my opinion. And then Return of the Jedi was just kind of pompy, right? You had to have the good guys win, so they kind of provided all that. You had the forest bears and all that stuff going on. It was fine. Vader had to be defeated, but it was really weird because Vader didn't look like Anakin, but it was supposed to be Anakin. I don't know. They just some of the special edition stuff just went weird after a while. So I struggle with that movie because of that. So the original releases, I don't know if you know this, but the original releases were on this really random app on Roku for like a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then virally the word spread, and they had to take the videos down because the only versions you can see now are Lucas's
remastered
special edition versions, and where Han doesn't shoot first, and all that kind of stuff. He made all those types of corrections, and it doesn't have the original Jabba. Jabba was a guy. It was like a dude in like a fur pelt, set of pants kind of thing. Jabba wasn't the big monster guy originally. So there's some pretty big changes in the films. And I understand what he was saying about it. It was like, well, this is what I wanted the movies to look like. They couldn't quite at that time, so this is what I want them to be. But
technology wasn't there yet.
Yeah, but I don't need that. I want the ones that originally came out were perfect. Just leave them alone. So anyway, unfortunately, I didn't get to it in time. I heard about it, and by the time I went to and download the app on my Roku, all the movies were gone. So it's unfortunate. I do have a DVD version of the original releases, and those are very expensive to get a hold of now. A set of those is like 200 and some bucks.
Okay.
Because they've never released them again, and a lot of people want. There's a Laserdisc version of the original ones too. As far as high quality, of course, they were released on DVD or VHS as well, but
right.
Who the hell wants to watch them on VHS? So, yeah. Ewok Adventures. I liked Ewok Adventures. I didn't hate the Ewoks, but I was a kid when that movie came out, so I was like, "Oh, murder bears! They're pretty fun." Murder bears, but drop bears, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, I mean, they're a little goofy when I look at them now. But Star Wars is all about that. They had some really weird little quirky characters, and that was part of the fun, right? So, you got Jar Jar Binks, you got, I mean, there's lots of the Jawas are kind of strange, it's fun.
I have to message my son because he just got an offer on his Pokemon card that he pulled at the Goat Card Show.
Nice. Yeah. A good offer?
Over $100.
I've been Pokemon. I don't have much Pokemon yet, but it's been selling pretty good for me. So
yeah,
got to keep some growth on some Pokemon. I need Max. Give me a hand. I need a good, solid lot of Pokemon. Not super expensive stuff, but not all commons either. I want some stuff that sells for a few bucks that I can throw online and kind of get my Pokemon going a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right now, Garbage Pail Kids have been killing it for me.
Really?
I've got Garbage Pail Kid sales every single day. Yeah.
I've had a few, enough where I've been listing more.
And I had a bunch of like the original sets that I had bought, so that helped. You know, I have some 1986, 1987 stuff. That series one, like series one, is the exception. That stuff goes for bigger, you know, real big money. There's a lot of demand for those, but yeah, Garbage Pail Kids been doing good.
Caleb
Here a
took me
lot.
up.
Did he? Nice.
He did $105.
Okay, that's money. Money in his paw. He can buy some more. Buy some more Pokemon.
For a 10-year-old, that's not bad.
No,
I wasn't making $100 on a card when I was 10.
nope, me either. Keith says, I hear a lot on Star Wars. Are we fans of Lord of the Rings? No. It was okay. The story doesn't interest me that much, but I thought Peter Jackson did a good job bringing some films out with them. But yeah, let me just put it this way: if you've ever seen Clerks 2, that's kind of how I feel about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not comparable to Star Wars as far as like story quality and film quality. But
like most things I hear, there's a lot of things that are different in the movies from the books.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, to each his own. There's something out there for everybody. I don't have anything against Lord of the Rings. It's just not really my thing. With that, I had a bunch of Kakawows that I've been listing the last 2 days. So I listed Thorin and Borin and Torin and Florin, and you know, all those guys have the same name. They just change one letter for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Merry and Pippin, and you know, I listed all those guys. So I'm counting on there being some Lord of the Rings fans out there buying my Kakawow stuff. All right, Max says he needs those lots too. I know. You have like hundreds of thousands of cards. I just want one little lot, like 200 cards, 150 to 200 cards, like some solid Pokemon stuff, so I can get a better feel for it and start building a Pokemon buyer base. That's my goal. But no, I certainly don't expect you to find them for me. I will do my research and pick some stuff up. Thrones, greater than Lord of the Rings, greater than Yoda and Friends. I've never seen Game of Thrones. It doesn't interest me. Lord of the Rings, I just told you my opinion on that. And yeah, Star Wars is amazing. So I'm in a different order than you are, my friend. I might put Thrones in front of Lord of the Rings also, though. I've never seen it. So I don't care for that medieval setting and stuff. That's just, I don't know. I don't watch that stuff. I like space and future, obviously.
Yeah, it took me 2 attempts at Thrones. The first time I checked it out, all my friends were watching it, and I watched an episode, and I'm like, this isn't for me. And then, like a year and a half later, in season 2 or 3, I tried it again, and suddenly I was hooked, and I was binge watching it until I was completely caught up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any interest in it. I probably will never see it. I know. The hype is gone now. I'm guessing they'll bring it back. You know, they'll need a cash grab out of it at some point, just like they're doing with Star Wars, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I watched The House of the Dragon. That's a decent story. Not as good as Game of Thrones, but
actually, I did watch some House of Dragon.
Yeah.
Now I think about it, but yeah, I don't know. It's all right. Dan never saw any Lords or Potters. I've seen a few Potters. Yeah, Harry Potter doesn't do it for me either. To me, that's kid stuff.
I can't get into.
Yeah, I don't. It's like a kid with magic powers, and he has a wand and a owl. Like, that story's been told 1,000 times. Like, it's just a rehash. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But some people are way into it and they love it, and that's fine. You said you don't want the bulk stuff. I moved through the stuff you want quick. I don't want like I don't want like just a bunch of commons. I would want like some couple dollar cards lot. That's what I just so I can get it. Like I said, I want to get a feel for what cards do what, so I would know what to kind of look for resale. I just went into a new space, bought a big lot of the Bo Jackson Battle Arena tonight.
Oh.
I've been meaning to do, as a matter of fact, when I was listing some Bo stuff today, or I sold a Bo card today, I was like, I gotta go buy some Bo Battle Arena stuff. So it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. Yeah, let us know how it does. That's been something I've been interested in picking up now that it's been out for a bit. I feel like you can get a decent.
Last year.
I'm sorry?
We were looking at it at the National last year.
Yes. Yeah, well, Bo was there, signing autographs and doing all that. But the cards look kind of cool. I like the comic design to it. So I would love to, if it's affordable, I'd love to pick up a little lot. So good work, Dan. That's something that I was definitely considering as well. And those are considered game cards, I believe. So I could list those in non-sport too. Books took me on Lord of the Rings. I think I'm too young for Star Wars. I've heard the books are really good. I don't read, so that doesn't really help me there. But
he can read. It's
yeah.
just he chooses not to.
So, and I think you might be right on Star Wars because it does feel like the older generation doesn't care for it as much, or the too young generation. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Either end of it. For me, I was born in '77, so I've only known a life with Star Wars. Like, it's literally paralleled the year of my birth. And I don't remember much of my life. I have a really terrible memory, but I remember the first time I saw Star Wars. I was at my uncle's house, and he had just gotten like a 32-inch TV, right? This giant picture tube TV. And I don't remember what we were watching. I was sitting there with my cousin. We were screwing around with football cards, actually, and watching something on TV. And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to show you, like, to see my new TV, you really got to watch Star Wars with it." And my mom was very strict with what we would watch. So, like, Star Wars was PG-13. You can't watch that because you're only 8 or whatever the heck I was.
Yeah.
So anyway, he put Star Wars in, and just the opening crawl, and then you just see this giant battleship like coming overhead, and I was like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my whole life." So to me, that's like my image of Star Wars, and just nothing's really touched it since. So that's where Star Wars comes from for me. I love the storyline. I liked all the characters. Yeah, it was just good stuff. I don't care a lot for the modern Star Wars. I think it's been Disney-fied, it's cash grabbed, it's a lot of hero anti-hero, a lot of PC. It's very cautious on what they try to talk about, and I don't need that in a fantasy story. It can be whatever. So let's see. Game of Thrones is great, minus the rush through the last season. I think a lot of last seasons are kind of like that. My Star Wars is Lord of the Rings. That's fair. I can see how you see it that way. And I was obviously much older when Lord of the Rings came out. It's kind of like, okay, it was just like a bunch of short people with hairy feet and stuff, and I don't know, it just didn't really do it for me. But I get it. It's generational. A lot of that's just like, for the kids a little older than my daughter, it was Harry Potter, right? That was what came out when they were young, and that was their fantasy stuff that, got a hold of them.
So my sister is like 8 years older than me, and she was all Lord of the Rings. Like, she had all the books, and couldn't, she would wait in line for the movies and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's, Max is younger than us. My sister's older than us, and we're surrounded by the bookends that are all about Lord of the Rings. I like both.
There's definitely fans of all of them, so they all have value, and you just have to decide where, kind of where you fit on it. But I can tell you, I have Star Wars T-shirts, but I do not have a single Lord of the Rings T-shirt. So that just tells me I'm a bigger Star Wars fan.
That makes sense.
I don't know if you'll be able to buy them cheap enough to make it worth it for you on that stuff, unless you can find a dealer at shows for lower, but floor on the stuff you want at shows is $1, and the cards shouldn't sell for much more than that. If you can find enough to make it work, more power to you. Okay. Potter blows everything mentioned tonight out of the water, though. Yeah, I can't agree with that at all. I've watched some of the Potters. My daughter likes them a little bit, so we kind of went back through and watched some of the early ones and try to catch her up with it. And I just don't have any hook for it all. People talk about like what house they're in and this and that. No, I don't. It's not for me. So, but obviously very popular. It's done very well. I think there's still Harry Potter stuff coming out. I don't know if that's like a dead title now, if they're like done with it, but I don't believe so. And I would assume. Yeah, and I would assume at some point they're going to need their cash grab too, and they'll come back and probably put out a bunch of stuff that isn't any good. I don't know, was that Lord of the Rings new series any good? Didn't they have a series on like Prime or something?
Yes.
In recent time? Was it any good?
Yes.
I didn't watch it.
It's not the one you just said, I don't think. It's because there's two that are similar. One's like an Amazon thing, and then there's another one. But yeah, I watch it. I like it. It's kind of an in-between movies time frame.
Okay.
And I like it when they fill in the gaps like that.
Okay.
You get to see
if you're a fan and you enjoy it, that's because I always worry about new stuff when it comes out that it's just not gonna. I love The Mandalorian. Mandalorian came out. I'm like, okay, maybe Disney won't screw all this up. And then Book of Boba Fett came out and it was horrible. The Obi-Wan series came out. It was okay. Andor was pretty good. Bad Batch was bad. There's just been most of the Star Wars projects haven't been very good.
That new series is Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. That's what it's
called. Yes, that's it. Yeah, and that was Prime, right? It was on Prime or something?
Yes.
Okay. Ford isn't a good actor. Nah, he's not that important in the Star Wars movies, to be honest with you. He's just supposed to kind of be this cocky, whatever, pilot junkie guy. And he fits that role okay that way. So the story's what a lot of people don't understand it. Yeah, what a lot of people don't understand is
you look Nerf herder.
I'm the Nerf herder, yeah. Star Wars, the story of Star Wars is actually about C-3PO and R2-D2. It's their story. And a lot of people don't understand that. They're the only ones that have been in every single movie, by the way, too. But it's about them from Anakin creating C-3PO all the way up to buying the R2 droid, right? So and R2 previously belonging to Leia and stuff. So it's good. I don't know. I think it's a good story. The Rings of Power. It's pretty interesting. Okay. We are not talking about cards at all tonight. This is like way outside the box. What time are we at? Okay, we still got a little time though. Actually, I'm gonna go refill my water quick. Charlie, you take over for a minute or two.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting a sore throat. You can talk about the because you had brought it up earlier. You can talk about the WNBA stuff if you want, the new release.
Yeah, so with the strength of the WNBA stuff and Caitlin Clark, in fact, all of sports trading cards are really continuing to be strong from the looks of it. Um, I think sales are up 300% year over year in the sports trading card market. And Caitlin Clark went for like over 200 grand for her rookie card in a recent sale. It looks like Panini's going to try and cash in more on women's basketball. And I guess why wouldn't you? It's a market that was probably underrepresented before. Now there's kind of a surge in interest for it. So why wouldn't you go after it? So Panini's been advertising that it would be releasing a partnership set with UConn basketball. And it would be releasing that set. I think it's a little over 100 cards in that set with greats like Diana Taurasi, but then they're leveraging their current deal with Paige. I think it's Paige Buckers as well. She's got an exclusive signing deal with them. So that is driving a little bit of excitement waiting for that. Looking at the athletes in the set, which you can see on the Panini site right now, Paige Buckers, Diana Taurasi, Alex Caravan, Sarah Strong, Brianna Stewart, Solo Ball, Jim Calhoun, longtime coach, Ozzie Flood, if I'm saying that one right. But it looks like it's going to be an interesting set. It's got the color blasts in it and a number of nice inserts. Don't know what the price is going to be yet. The boxes are relatively small, but in the hobbies, there are some autographs. There's numbered stuff. But the question is, are we all buying in on that? I got in on the Caitlin Clark stuff a little bit for a while before it kind of got priced out of the market. I was able to find some Caitlin Clark rookies for a while and snatch them up in some value boxes and get some product off the shelves and make a nice little flip out of it. But that kind of dried up pretty quickly as her fame just grew and grew and grew. And I think there's enough of a foundation set where it's not out of the question that she becomes, I hate to say it because there's going to be strong reaction to this, but the Michael Jordan of women's basketball at some point. It's very, very early, but the way she's starting out and the way she plays, there's quite the possibility that she could be a revolutionary figure in women's basketball that has crossover appeal too. So time will tell on that, but we're certainly at a point where there's a lot of piqued interest in women's basketball. And now we're going from the pros and we're going into more college sets. And UConn's obviously a perennial power in women's college basketball. Rebecca Lobo is another name I remember there, although I don't see her in this set. You can just go back through the years, and if you look at the WNBA's history, it is just peppered with UConn players. So, Adam, is this a product that you'll be interested in?
I mean, I get UConn. Like, I remember them being number one forever. I used to watch Diana Taurasi when she was in college. I was entertained by it. I don't know. The problem and now college products, of course, are different anyway, but the problem I still have with the WNBA stuff is nobody watches the sport. Or it has a very small viewing base. And to me, that's tough because you have to convert viewers into card collectors. And if that base is pretty small, it's going to be tough to hang on to them.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark, you're right. She could be the game changer. Maybe she becomes the Michael Jordan of basketball, but I don't know that Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan for more than just the fact of being a good basketball player. He has a trillion endorsements. He was the first one with his own shoe. I mean, they still make his shoes. They release like 65 different pairs of his shoes a year.
Yeah.
He did the McDonald's stuff. He was in movies. There's more to that picture than just he won 6 championships in a row. Is she going to be able to do stuff like that? I don't know if it's going to hold attention long enough. I remember when in 1994, I want to say it was, the U.S. women's soccer team won the World Cup. And that was going to be all the rage. Okay, well, this is, the women's dominant sport in the world. Team USA was really good. We were winning. We won a couple of cups in a row and a couple of Olympics and stuff. And that was big for a while. And then that was done. And then it was kind of done. Like, women's soccer still isn't a huge thing.
Yeah.
When comparing it to NBA, when comparing it to NFL, I'm not saying that people don't watch it all and people don't enjoy it and people want to collect the cards. Yeah. I think one of the best parts about this is it's gotten a lot of young ladies into our hobby. I saw all kinds of girls at card shows that I wouldn't have seen before that were asking for Caitlin Clark cards. I think that's great. Maybe they'll be the proponents of the growth on that side, and we'll see a lot more WNBA viewing and card values and products and stuff. But I think the product releases are a little weak. Caitlin Clark came out, was going to be so big, so of course they overdid it. They made entire Caitlin Clark sets. You could buy boxes of Caitlin Clark cards.
Yep.
And they're just going to try to bleed the thing as far as they can. And Michael Jordan has one rookie card, arguably. I mean, I know there's the star cards, but as far as like a major licensed NBA release, it's that Fleer card and that's it. So you can kind of juice that card a little bit more because there isn't as much of it out there. So I don't know. What do we do? Like, what if there isn't a Caitlin Clark this year? What if there isn't a Caitlin Clark type player next year? What if there isn't a Caitlin Clark player 3 years from now? I remember Lisa Leslie, how huge she was, with her in her name, and she had endorsements and stuff.
Yep.
And they won the Olympics, and there was a lot going on at that time, but that's it. That's the end. At least nobody's running out buying Lisa Leslie cards. So
right.
I don't know. I just don't think it's going to have. Heck, it's hard for me to sell NBA player cards. There just isn't as many viewers of the sports, and the only reason NBA really has a pretty robust market is due to the international. Mm-hmm. Which the WNBA doesn't have that at all. So I don't know.
And I should clarify, this product is actually overall for UConn, not just the women's program. You can see there's the men's program in there too. But in my opinion, the women's program has always overshadowed the men's program. So, I mean, the names I'd be looking for in there are mostly going to be women's basketball.
I completely agree. And I've been when I knew the spike was coming with Caitlin Clark coming out, I bought some Diana Taurasi cards, and I bought some, players that I thought could sell because Caitlin Clark would bring them attention. I haven't sold a damn one of them.
Yeah.
So I just don't know that, I sell some of the college. You're right. I think the college women's basketball is the better play, because I have sold, Sports Illustrated for Kids college women's basketball stuff. I've sold some of the McDonald's cards, which is players still in high school, college, whatever. But I don't know. I just don't believe that it's going to have a huge viewership growth which is something you're going to need to sustain values in cards.
Yeah.
Once the hype is gone.
Now, I did see that they're going to extend this program to other universities as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be all in for like a Florida State or a Miami or an Alabama set. But then we're probably looking for the names on the men's side or something. I don't hear as much about women's basketball in some of those other universities.
Yeah, and I would expect some of the bigger basketball universities, Kansas, North Carolina, Kentucky. I would think those would be the ones, on Duke. Those would probably be the ones most likely to be on the list. Yeah, so, and they've made North Carolina sets before, because of Jordan mainly, but I don't know. I don't know. Will I be buying any of it? Probably not. But I'm not a wax guy anyway. I wouldn't be buying it anyway. If I find some Caitlin Clark cards that I like, that are affordable, I'll buy them, and try to flip them. But will I be buying boxes of this product? Absolutely not.
I won't either, but I think the question I have is for the people that do buy boxes and grab the page cards and a couple other ones and ditch the rest and they end up in value boxes, do we grab them there?
I've done that with right when Select came out, WNBA Select came out. A few months back, I was at a Appleton show, and there was a few buyers who you can tell just like ripped cases trying to get Caitlin Clark stuff, numbered stuff, colors, whatever. And they threw a bunch, of the commons. I don't want to say commons, but the non-Caitlin Clark stuff, and just trying to get rid of it cheaper.
Yeah.
But I grabbed a few of them, and I still can't tell you that I had a lot of success with it. I don't know a lot of the names, so that's part of it. I haven't done a lot of research in it, but I'd rather go buy a Joe Montana Topps Chrome card than I would some random WNBA non-Caitlin Clark card. That just makes more sense to me, market wise and who I'm trying to sell to. I don't have a lot of customer base that is 14-year-old girls who love WNBA. That's not really my customer base, so I don't know that I'm gonna buy a lot of products to try to meet that demand. But it's kind of like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and Harry Potter or something for everybody, and WNBA is just not my thing. So and it's not that I'm not into women's sports. I buy a lot of women's sports cards. I love women's soccer cards. I bought quite a few of those and have done well on them. I know the players. I really want to get some Trinity Rodman stuff. I've been trying to find them, and I don't see them hardly anywhere.
No, I don't either.
Alex Morgan. I buy every Alex Morgan I can find wherever I go. Mia Hamm. So maybe the women's basketball can get some longevity that way, where you start having older cards that matter. Because WNBA, like, are you going to buy a 2012 WNBA card? Probably not. I don't even think they had any. So it doesn't have any real history to it. So we're all going off of, Caitlin Clark is hot and sells well, and these boxes are going for a lot. WNBA is the best thing to buy and best thing to own forever. And I just think that that's kind of a mistake to look at it that way. Yeah.
Well, you said it before, too, that because we both did this when Caitlin Clark got a hot in the market. We bought some other WNBA stuff of legends in the WNBA thinking, there'll be some ancillary sales. Some of that heat will rub off and people have renewed interest. And it really didn't pan out. I sold a couple nice inserts and that was about it.
Yeah, same. And big stars. I had some Sue Bird stuff, some Lisa Leslie. Like I'm not completely ignorant to the WNBA and its star athletes. But they just, unless you got something real rare or whatever, it hasn't really done anything for me.
Yeah.
And like I said, if there wasn't other stuff to buy, well, maybe, but there's plenty of Bo Jacksons and Joe Montanas and Brett Favre, like stuff I
Sure.
flip on a dime, and can easily get. Like it doesn't make sense for me to really search out WNBA stuff.
So it sounds like we're saying it's a
And
big.
I think I actually think Caitlin Clark stuff's overpriced.
Yeah.
So I feel like that it's kind of like Paul Skeens. You know, there's these underlying values to it, and it just isn't going to hold up long term. Now, if she becomes, I think it's unfair to be like, oh, she's the Michael Jordan of basketball. Like Michael Jordan had a huge, long, important career in basketball. Like this girl's played one season. So
And he had Space Jam.
And he had Space Jam. And I just think that it's like, you know, oh, Paul Skeens and this, you know, oh, Nolan Ryan had 7 no-hitters. Nolan Ryan played for 26 seasons. Nolan Ryan played with a busted lip on the mound, blood everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan took on any fighter and took him down, you know, knocked out Robin Ventura. Like, there's things that those guys have. I'm not saying Caitlin Clark can't have, though, and I'm not saying she should punch anybody on the mound, but there's these things behind these, you know, top tier legend athletes that just don't come the way of most athletes.
Right.
You know, and she's really gonna have to find something like that. And I saw her in a commercial. She must have a shoe or something, I'm guessing. But I saw her in a commercial. I think it was for shoes. Maybe it wasn't her shoe. Maybe it was just like a shoe. And I saw her in the commercial, and you know, she's kind of talking about the shoe and this, and I'm like, she's terrible. Like, I don't think she's good at media at all. You know, whereas like, and Jordan wasn't fantastic. You know, he's kind of lumbery and a little dry, and but it worked. Like, it worked for him. You know, he had super confidence, and he was Michael fucking Jordan. You know, like he just has something like that you just don't get by, you know, just playing the game. Like, there's more to it. You know, remember those McDonald's commercials with him and Larry Bird, and they would do like the playing horse and like off the gym floor, off the roof, off the, like, do you see Caitlin Clark getting that kind of commercial spot? Because I don't see it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's not that much originality in media these days either.
Well, that's true, and commercials aren't even really a thing. It's funny, I asked my daughter the other day about, oh, did you see this commercial? And she's like, what's a commercial? She's like, well, I've
That
seen
thing
some
you went through all
ads.
the time.
They're ads. They're ads. That's what they're referred. You know, that's what everybody's. It says even on the little thing on the TV, you know, ad in 20 seconds or whatever. But they don't know what a commercial is. It's the same thing, but it's not called that anymore. So I was like, oh, well, a commercial is like a structured video advertising a product, you know. And
Well, you don't have
anyway,
regular TV in your house, though, right? Everything's
no,
streaming stuff. So
yeah, don't need regular TV.
that's why it's ads and not commercials.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not totally bought into the WNBA, and I could be wrong. I could be missing the boat. But am I going to run out and buy Caitlin Clark rookies now? No.
No, for sure not now.
No. So I just don't see. There needs to be more to the sport than just like the one star too. And I know there's other college athletes that are coming in, and you know, maybe it'll just keep getting more juice and it'll grow, and these young women coming up will really push the sport and make it big. But I look at attendance, and I look at like how many viewers there are, you know, on TV and online of the games, and it's not good. So now Caitlin Clark's games get much better attendance
Totally
and
different.
viewing. Yeah, and viewing than, you know, any of the other teams. So, like I said, maybe she can lead that way and bring it into that, but that's a lot to put on her shoulders too.
Right.
that wasn't put onto Michael Jordan's shoulders. It wasn't like, hey, Michael Jordan, make the NBA a thing. Like he was just that was just him. He just came out and that's what he brought. When they gave him a shoe, it wasn't like, well, we'll still be making Jordans 35 years from now. We'll make 65 different pairs a year, and people will still spend $120 on it. Like that wasn't how it came out. But I feel like that's kind of what they're throwing at Caitlin Clark. Like, you need to make the WNBA a thing that people want. And that's just a lot. That's really hard. That's almost impossible to live up to. There's only going to be disappointment in that kind of,
Probably.
That's like, my daughter has to become a doctor when she grows up. Well, anything underneath that is considered failure, right? It's, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe she can do it. Maybe she can rise to that challenge. She has to avoid injuries. She has to avoid trades. She has to avoid, media drama. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to go on there. And Jordan wasn't
bad influences off the court.
Mm-hmm. And Jordan wasn't completely innocent. Remember he got busted for betting. The betting, not betting on basketball, thankfully, but his constant gambling stuff, and then his dad was murdered tragically. He had the drama with when him and his wife separated. Like there was a lot of different things that popped up for him too. But he was able to stay golden, and that's not as easy as it sounds either.
Right.
And I'm not saying Caitlin Clark's going to go out and do that. I'm not saying she's going to be gambling. I can already see the messages on here like, oh, you're already putting her down. No, it's nothing against Caitlin Clark herself. To me, it's just the responsibility that's trying to be thrown at her is stuff for any human, regardless of your talents and your abilities.
Well, enough about women's basketball.
Yeah.
I think we covered that adequately. And I think we were both a hard pass on Panini Yukon for the most part.
How much are they a box?
It didn't say yet because it doesn't have a release date yet either. But I'll probably keep my eye out for some of them to hit some value boxes in the next 6 months and just get a closer look at them.
There's just, to me, as a business guy and trying to buy inventory and stuff, there's so many options out there for cards that the WNBA is nowhere near the top of my list.
Yeah.
For buying and flipping, other than, like I said, Caitlin Clark. It was nice getting the Caitlin Clark rookies and the VIP packs at the National and stuff. Those are easy sell. I sold them before I left that weekend, but I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of like the Paul Skeens thing. Like I sell any Paul Skeens stuff I can get my hands on because I just don't see that lasting.
Right.
Charlie, was the Whatnot purchased from the guy that always does Monday shows?
It was. You're thinking about the right guy. He had a non-scheduled Thursday show where I happened to see the notification and had the ability to listen in.
Nice. Max corrects you, says it's pronounced Beckers. Is that?
I'll take his word for it.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think the comp is fair. Clark has already done more for women's sports than Curry has for basketball. There's been a lot of other women's sports leaders too. Not in basketball necessarily, but in other sports. I would still pump the brakes.
That, I sold a Babe Diedrichson the other day. Speaking of, women's game changers.
Yeah, I mean, I've sold women's field hockey cards. I've sold women's surfing. I've sold women's bicycling. I had that woman athlete who lives in Madison by us that bought her own card for me. Remember that?
Yeah.
She was a bodyboarder, I think, or water skier. So again, nothing against women's sports. I just think going hard into WNBA it's tough. It's gonna be tough long term, I think. Max has pumped the brakes on a lot of it. Not much of a buyer on any of it other than a few sealed things to throw in the closet and a Clark or two to participate in the market. And it's kind of where I see it too. I see this release as Panini struggling to stay relevant. It is a little bit of an odd choice. iPad kids don't watch TV. None of them have a clue what a commercial is. Correct. LeBron is still better than Jordan. Yeah, I don't know. I can't agree with that one. To me, and this is kind of why I mentioned what I mentioned. There's more to Jordan than just the basketball, the stats. There's the logo, there's the shoes, there's the commercials, there's the movies, there's just some legacy pieces to him that nobody else had. That's why he's still as big as he is today. Besides his accomplishments, those obviously will help him stay relevant too, but yeah. And I know LeBron made the exact same movie that Michael Jordan did. But trust me, Space Jam LeBron is not as good as Space Jam Jordan. Sparkle is here. Hiya. I'd love to fly over for the National. We'd love to have you because you're in. I think you've been on here before. Is this our Australian viewer? I believe.
I don't remember where they're located, but yeah, Sparkle Sports Cards has been on for a while now.
No way, not in my lifetime.
That is Australia, right?
Yeah, see Australia. I'm good. Can you both do an episode of the cards you got from the? Oops. Just jump forward on me. From the last Goat Show, I enjoyed the love the other day. Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. I don't know if you were here earlier in the show, but I've started filming it, but I picked up a lot of stuff, so it's going to just take me a little while. I filmed. I didn't do all the Kakawows and all the Disney 100s because we showed a bunch of those on the live Goat Show video, so you can go check that out if you want to see some of those. But I filmed the Star Wars. I filmed my big box of football. That actually took a while because it was a 5,000 count. I didn't show all the cards, obviously, but I showed a bunch of the ones that I pulled for individual listing. Then tomorrow I have like 3 or 4 more boxes now. At least maybe 6 more boxes of different Star Wars stuff, plus some binders. And then I have the Fright Flicks box as well, plus a whole box of 90s Marvel. So it's going to take me a while to film all of it. I did. It's like 12,000 cards. Maybe I'll need to break it up into multiple videos. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll try to work on some more of it tomorrow. Tomorrow I actually have I don't have tax stuff to do. I don't have school stuff to do. I don't have to run the kid anywhere for anything. So tomorrow I'm going to try to sit down and just get through those videos.
Oh. This is my buys for this show. I did record everything. I went through all this, and I'm not really happy with the recording. So I'm not sure I'm gonna release it. I tried a different setup. I actually had the box here, and I got a camera set up about chest high, and you could see me going through everything. And audio wasn't great, and it was a little shaky because every time I took a breath, I was hitting the camera. It was shaking. So I don't know if I'm gonna edit that and release it or not. If I do, it probably won't be until the weekend. But here's some of my Marvin the Martian that I picked up. Let's see if I can get this one out. There we go. Look at that. Love that.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Is that Kakawa?
Space Modulator.
This is Looney Tunes Retro.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would love to find a whole box of Looney Tunes Retro.
Yeah.
Even commons and stuff, base and stuff. I'm hoping at the National we have some more luck with that since there's more non-sport releases that come out now. Because I bought quite a few of the Marvel Platinum and the annual and stuff. parallels that I've found, and they've done very well for me, sales wise
Sure.
and stuff.
Yeah, and so this box is actually, I filled it up the rest of the way with my Whatnot order too. So we talked earlier about I bought out a dealer's box there at the end of the show. Everything was top loaded like this, sleeved and top loaded. It ended up being like 2.5 rows in this box. And then I had this row was pretty much my separate picks, and we went through some of them on the live at the show. And then my Whatnot, I've kind of filled in the spots in there too. But the buy from that dealer was 467 cards, I think, all top loaded and sleeved. It was pretty much foundational stuff, though. There were a lot of Joe Montanas, Emmett Smiths, Michael Irvins, stuff like that. Some Derrick Henrys. Here's a John Elway. Pretty standard John Elway stuff. So the way I look at it is I bought some supplies, and then I bought a lot of $1.99 cards that I'll be able to scan most of it. So nothing sensational in there.
Sure.
Found a bunch more of those superstars. I know we both got some of these in Eau Claire last year, and I got some more of those. So yeah, it was okay. Some nice Nomar, some nice Jeter on the day. Some Bryce Harper, some interesting stuff. Some Ricky, but no gems found in those quarter boxes or dollar boxes, right? And that's okay. Sometimes you're gonna find those. Sometimes you're just gonna get that foundational stuff. As long as you kind of thumb through there a little bit and having a general idea of, even worst case scenario, can I use this? Then you'll be all right, right? So,
especially when you buy the box at the end of the show, there's probably some stuff that was picked out of there too.
Right.
Yeah, it's just good solid inventory. That's always a good thing to buy.
Exactly.
I'm don't really need any. I have so many boxes of stuff and kind of maxed out on, I even talked about this at the show too. Like, I'm not really buying sports. I bought like 110 baseball cards. That was all I bought for sport.
Right.
Other than when Jeff threw the, $30 football box at me, I was not going to pass on that. But yeah, I think that was a fine buy. You got some like you said, some supplies out of it. That's never a bad thing.
Yeah. When I went through it, that 467 cards, I already kind of in my mind sorted them out. There was a little over 300 that I'm like for sure list, and there was about 100 or so that I'm like, these might go into my value box ultimately. So,
sure.
But I think that's a normal split when you just buy a whole box, right? It's not
Sure.
all gonna be stuff you're gonna list.
Yeah, and honestly, I like supporting our dealers too. So I like to go around to the show and buy from some dealers. I don't expect them to buy from me because of what I sell. At shows, I'm an online seller, but those guys, that's what they're like. Max, that's what they're doing is they're going from show to show and they're trying to make some money at the shows. And I really want them to be successful at our show. So if there's some stuff that I'd be interested in, yeah, and I love buying from them. I bought another case of American Bandstand. Those cards have done pretty well for me.
So did I. I opened that up the other day too. Did not get the auto, but
no,
I did get easily scannable. I listed the entire thing in less than an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a decent variety of cards. You do get doubles, which is nice. I like to have quantity. Yep. Just interesting, musicians at that time. There's no other set like that. So if you want big bopper cards, that's it. You want Buddy Holly cards, that's it. You want licensed stuff anyway. You want some cards with Dick Clark on it, there you go. There's, Guy Ritchie. There's, there's Donna Summer. I sold some Donna Summer cards today from out of there. So yeah, it's a great little set. And at,
like you
$2 a box.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you
You
can't
know?
beat that.
No.
And like you said, there were duplicates in there. So I actually have one whole complete set I listed, and then I still had 90% of a second one that I listed singles on. So that works out pretty nice when you can list a complete set and then still have plenty of singles left over. Because there are people that look to just get the whole set at once. Obviously, there's not a lot of money in it when you're buying a hobby box, but you're doing the work for somebody basically that wants to collect that set, and you're able to just get them everything at once. They kind of look around, see one or two cards out there that they like, and they're like, I think I want to collect this, and you give them a chance to get the whole thing there. So there's Adam. He's back.
Yeah, I don't know. Something it said my internet was resetting. I don't know. So here I am.
That darn TDS fiber.
No, I think it was my Wi-Fi router. One of my projects for next year is to upgrade my mesh network. I bought an early mesh network. They're just so expensive. And I've found a good way to get them to work in all the spaces right now. So because I need like 4 or 5 pods.
Yeah.
So it's like $500-$600 by the time I'm done. So I just haven't decided to, because I really need to upgrade to a 6E system, and I'm just working off of just a regular Google Mesh, and it doesn't prioritize bandwidth flow, and like there's a bunch of different things that the modern ones do that one doesn't. So
right,
we'll see if it fits in the budget, but trying to lay off spending a lot of extra because I just don't know what's going to be happening, with things going on in the future here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes, you want wireless. You want a meshed wireless APs. Take it from a network guy. Yeah, that's. I know exactly what I need to do. I know how to do it. It's just a matter of writing the check. It seems my internet works 99% of the time during the day, so it just hasn't been a motivation to spend more money and flip it over. But I know it's coming. Technology is one of those weird things, right? Because it's like, oh, I should upgrade and spend on this today, but like a year from now, there's gonna be another upgrade that you could do. So it's like, I can just hold on. Your phone, right? Like you're like, oh, I should get the next new phone, and then you're like, well, if I wait one more year, there'll be 2 more models after that, and I can jump on that one. You don't want to upgrade to every single model.
Right.
And they release it on purpose that way. They only do a little bit more and then sell you that one, and then a little bit more and sell you, because they need you to come back. They need to sell you another phone, so they can't just jump from, It's funny. I did not know this, but do you know how much data a floppy disk holds? Like an original floppy disk?
Like an old school floppy disk?
Yeah.
Probably like 10 megs.
It's not even megs. It's kilo. Is it
kilomegs?
Really? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Literally, you can only fit one like thumbnail image on a floppy disk.
Oh, really?
That's it. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. Do you remember playing some games in grade school and like you had like 5 discs for the game and you had to keep changing them out?
Well, you could fit all Oregon Trail on one.
Well, it's got to be pretty simple, because you can't fit like a photo. I'm talking like a photograph, like a picture of you and I right now.
Yeah.
Is more than what that's about all you can fit on a floppy.
Yeah.
That came from my 80s YouTube video that I was watching. But they could have easily jumped up to like terabytes years ago, but they weren't going to do that. They needed you to buy 256 gig and then, 500 gig and then anyway. All right. I think that's about where, as far as we're going to get. Max wants to know if I have a hardwire. I do not. That's another project that I want to do, is try to drop the line down, but I haven't done it yet. I have finished walls in here, so it's a little bit of work. It's not quite the original, or the modem is not exactly above me. It's a little bit over, like behind. There's a set of stairs, and then it's up there. So it's going to take a little bit more to run it. So we'll see. But I actually don't have internet issues, like, ever. So, I had this refresh right now. The internet issues I've had before on the live is because of my laptop. It's not because of my internet. So, because ever since I've been doing it with my phone, I've had no problems. Other than tonight, my Wi-Fi decided to reboot for some reason. I don't know. Random. All right. I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Do you have anything else you want to add, Charlie?
No, it looks like we hit a couple of the topics we talked about discussing tonight. Yeah, I think we're good for the night.
Okay. Yeah, we got a little off topic with our Lord of the Rings versus Potter versus Star Wars thing. So, for whatever reason, it feels like those properties are very, people are very passionate about them, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting how sci-fi gets its like passionate, hardcore fans. I guess it's kind of like the Jordan versus Kobe versus LeBron or whatever, as well, versus Wilt versus, I don't know who else you want to throw in that mix, but there's no right or wrong answer. Those, especially when I think about like player discussions, eras matter, right?
Yeah.
Jordan might suck if he plays now.
Unlikely,
LeBron,
but maybe.
LeBron might have sucked back in the 90s when you couldn't flop. You had to take a hard hit. Defenses were punishing back then. I think about Wembanyama. Like, can you imagine Wembanyama playing against like Bill Laimbeer? He would have broken that dude in half.
Right.
And he would have been allowed to. Like, that was part of the game. It was a little bit more aggressive, and it wasn't all just 3-point shooting. And I don't know. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. If you enjoyed watching Jordan play and he's your favorite player, that's great. If you enjoyed watching LeBron play and he's your favorite player, that's awesome. Steph Curry, whatever. I think it's kind of like the Lord of the Rings, Potter. I don't want to watch Potter, so why would I be a fan of it? That doesn't even interest me, And other people aren't interested in Star Wars. The space opera thing is not a story they want to get involved in. That's what it's called. It's called a space opera.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's it for tonight. Anything else?
I think just don't forget, when you see the GOAT, we're talking about some of the greatest of all time.
Don't forget, you can't sell what you don't list. See y'all next week, Wednesday, 8 Central Standard Time. Be there.